Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we completed our demonstration flight of a mission to the ISS, and we're now apparently fully qualified to do this, despite some minor mishaps that had nothing to do with the actual vehicle. Now you'll notice I've swapped out the photovoltaic panels for the boxed variant. I just think it looks slightly better. It's also slightly more expensive, so it's technically less efficient for us, but whatever. So we need to open up the service bay, and the payload for this particular mission is what is called the heat rejection subsystem grapple fixtures. Now, I had a heck of a time finding information on what these are, but I have figured it out, mostly. This is one of these things that is very not well documented, at least in the, surface level internet. I'm sure there's a lot of information on them in, technical sources and such, but for this particular purpose, it's difficult to find information on this particular section of the ISS. So what these are essentially, well, they're grapple fixtures, right? And if we look at this, we can see basically what they are. Oh, this is kind of small. Now it's kind of blurry. Okay, I'm sure this is fine. So what this is just a grapple fixture, right? The grapple arm grabs onto this so that it can manipulate things. Now, in KSP, this isn't really necessary. This isn't a thing that is needed, and I'm not exactly sure how we'll go about implementing this. Maybe via another grab arm? I don't know. I don't know how we'll implement this, but it will be something similar to that. And we need to bring up two of them. And as for where they attach, I helpfully found this article on NASA Spaceflight. The only thing about what was done with them that I found was that they were removed by the Canadarm and then attached, according to this, to the radiators for the station's arm to interface with. They were removed robotically, yes, with the Space Station Remote Manipulator System or the Dexter. I'm not sure which, but it doesn't really matter. Regardless, there's not a lot of information on what... Oh, this is very large now. Okay, there's not a lot of information on what was going on with the HRSGF. So that's basically what we've got. And given that, I think we can make some conclusions on what to do with it. The question is, how are we going to create these grapple fixtures? So if we go into, say, coupling here, we could simply have it be... Well, if we look at the advanced grabbing unit and how that works, this has 4 claws. So basically we need something with a cross on it for this to grab onto, right? Or like a plus. So that is a theoretically viable thing. I mean, one thing we could do, realistically, is we could simply put in an octagonal strut. And I would want to mount this, up here, right? Temporarily, for now. We'll go down to 2 of them, because, no, we'll go down to 2 of them. There should only be 2. And rotate it to be something kind of like that. So then, sure, that'll do for now. Then we can have this adapt to a modular girder. And then a modular girder hub. That feels way too big. That feels way too big. This was a modular girder small adapter. This is the large modular girder adapter. So... yeah, this is definitely pretty large. A cubic octagonal strut would be about that size. I don't think this is exactly what we're looking for. So what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for something that our grapple fixture can grab onto with a plus shape at the top. We could make that. We could make it. And that would be something like an I-beam Pocket Edition. Even that's very large. Okay. So we would need something that is really quite small here. So for now, something like this could be grabbed onto in theory. We could just have it be that, but I don't want it to be just that. So we could have it be a micro node on here, but we could have it be based on a micro node. I don't think that's a good call. So what would we want to have for the cross structure? Well, we could just have it be strut connectors. So a strut going like this. That doesn't want to attach over here. Okay. I wish we could attach it here. If we could, that would be kind of ideal. But it would appear that that's not going to work. So a strut connector is not an option. I would have just had a strut going here, and then called that a grapple fixture. But as it is, that's not going to happen. And of course, this is going to need to get attached to the station, so we need to rebuild it on station. We're going to have to do that manually, not via the grab arm, by the way. We don't really have an option there. That pretty much is what it is. So, given that, the next question is, what can we do? Well, I don't want to have a decoupler there. Our options are very limited on what we can do with this. We could simply put on a grab point and have it be that we grab onto the octagonal strut. Hang on, I want to take a quick look here. So if we go into our coupling with the Advanced Grabbing Unit Junior, and we have it like this, right? This only uses 3 with its grab. So it would grab 3 of these points. The Advanced Grabbing Unit Junior is the one that we're using in most cases. So this should really be in 3s, not in 4 grids. So like a triangle grid, right? I don't think we have the option for that. Ultimately, maybe we just bring 2 octagonal struts. I don't like that option. But that does seem to be what we're coming to. These grip strips are way too large. We could bring a structural panel, but that wouldn't really do what we want it to do, I don't think. And it's also really too large. So if we made that be a truss, it would be something like that. Can this be insulated back here, the octagonal strut? The answer is no. Okay. I would have preferred that this be insulated and then this just be a grab point, but I would like to have this be smaller. So that would be ideal, but I don't really see a way around it. We could just bring this in as is and just say that this is our grapple fixture. Just something for us to grapple onto. So we can put one of these attached here and the other one attached here, like that, as our only payload in this first flight. Okay, so that would be the broad concept. I'm not super happy with those grapple fixtures, but I mean, they're just grapple fixtures, right? As far as we're concerned, it doesn't matter because we're never actually going to grab onto them with the Canadarm. So just the way that KSP works, we can't do that. So I guess this is fine. We'll do it this way. And as far as attaching them, quote unquote, to the radiators, well, my read on that is that this is attaching them to the S1 and P1 truss segments. Those are the primary radiators, by no means the only radiators, but those are the primary radiators, and so that would be what we would be looking at. Now, as far as the ascent guidance goes, we could try running ascent guidance and see how it goes. But it might be a little concerning here. We'll see it, and we can launch into plane of target, and we'll engage this autopilot for now. So we'll warp forward. That will at least give us the correct launch time, which does save us some time. No doubt about that. The question about a MechJeb launch basically comes down to the way that it does its gravity turn. Now, we can limit the angle of attack to a lower angle of attack. That might be necessary. Hang on. We need to disable these at this point. There we go. We can lower the angle of attack if necessary. That may end up being necessary here. The question is, how much headroom do we have on getting this into orbit while this is in a coast phase? That's the question. So we'll find out. For now, this is reasonable, but of course, we're going to need to manually stage this once we have about... I liked that 10-second of burn time marker. I think that was pretty decent. So we'll bring this around and just boost our way on up. Our apoapsis height is reasonably high, but this angle of attack is going to put us at a lot more horizontal speed and a lot less vertical speed, which means we'll have less time to put this into orbit before this really needs work, but simultaneously, we'll need less time to put this into orbit. So we'll just see how this goes at the standard mech-jeb angle of attack. I'm not 100% convinced that it'll be good, but we'll see. Okay, so we're going to be staging this in about 20 seconds here. And our apoapsis height is looking decent at about 55 kilometers. 60 kilometers. 10 more seconds. I think we're okay here. Yeah, we're absolutely fine. This will be okay. I'm not going to have any problems with this. 13, 12, 11, 10. Oh, stop burning here, please. Thank you very much. Go ahead and get these and go to retrograde and deploy. Cool. Now we're going to head back over here, which is still in autopilot mode. This guy is going to be coasting for a while, and that is understood. That should be reasonably fine. Yeah, apoapsis height is quite high here, so this looks good. I think that we're not going to have any problems whatsoever using mech-jeb for this. Yeah, we do need a lot more horizontal speed here still. No doubt about that. It gave us a lot of vertical speed, though, which is mildly shocking. So we're going to skip circularization, which is already selected here. That is very good. So we're just going to put this into its suborbital position. That'll give us some time. But we can see here that the Falcon 9 probe is going to be coasting for a while. So that's reasonably okay. Yeah, I don't really have any problem with the way that this is playing out. Should be good. Our descending node is currently 1.4 degrees off. Not a major concern there. Yeah, overall this seems great. Our apoapsis height is going up kind of slowly. We do need a lot more horizontal speed. No doubt about that. Okay, so we're skipping the circularization. I want to put in this maneuver node here, and we're just going to bring this guy right on up and circularize that right about here. What would it look like if we just made... Oh, wow. We can just make for the station here on this circularization run. That looks good. I mean, that's still 60 kilometers apart. We can definitely dial that in. Can we pin that open, please? I want to be able to see here. There we go. Okay, we can definitely dial that in a little bit. Yeah. This is less good than this. But this is close enough. We can definitely get there from here. So let's head on over to the node. That's going to be in about 2 minutes. So the Falcon 9 probe is going to need to be landing eventually. We've got 2 minutes here. I'm just wondering what the landing timing on this Falcon 9 probe is going to be. So let's switch over to that real quick here. We'll have to figure out the exact order we want to do this in eventually. But we've only got 2 minutes and 18 seconds here. So this is not in a retrograde position here yet. Time to apoapsis and then time to periapsis. I'm wondering about impact time. 4 minutes? Okay, so if the impact time is 4 minutes, then that means that we should do the circularization burn first. In theory. So let's hop over here. Yeah, this is going to be in about 2 minutes with a 1 minute burn time. So let's just warp here for the moment, and we're going to be at the node. Okay, and let's physics warp forward here. It is going to be a 1 minute burn time, though, which is concerning to me. But the Falcon 9 probe is not even close to entering the atmosphere yet. So let's warp forward another 30 seconds. And commencing circularization burn. Keeping an eye on that Falcon 9 probe, it's still not in the atmosphere. Okay, let's just get this burn completed and get ourselves in a trajectory to go to the station, which it's remarkable that we're going directly to the station, by the way. Okay, so we are now in an orbit, checking in on the Falcon 9 probe. It's about to enter atmosphere. So by the time we get there, it will have just entered atmosphere. But this is a larger burn than we will usually do. So this is kind of a stress test here. That seems good. So we'll just do that for now, and then we'll do a get closer burn once we warp around there. But we need to handle the Falcon 9 probe right now. That is down to about 50 kilometers, so that's a little low in the atmosphere here. Let's see what we've got going on here and how much fuel we have left. Head to retrograde, please. Okay, we've got 7 seconds of fuel. We're coming in at an awkward direction, for sure. I'm burning a little bit of our remaining fuel here just to slow us down a bit and get us over to retrograde. We're coming in very sharply, and this is a land landing. So I'll toggle our gear action group. I'm a little concerned about our current speed. We are slowing down, but I don't know that we're slowing down quickly enough. I'm keeping an eye on the suicide burn countdown. That's currently going up, so that is a good sign. Okay, we are slowing down pretty dramatically here, down to 300 meters per second. Okay, this may not go very well at all, but we'll find out. Bringing us down a bit in speed. Okay. We've got some awkward directionality going here, so this isn't going to go well. Yeah, we had a lot of sideways momentum there. So that's not super shocking in that situation. So how can we prevent that sideways momentum in the future? That is a question that we need to ask there, and to be clear, this is a problem that SpaceX actually faced. So this was, of course, pretty much lost, although I think there's a little bit of debris out over here we might be able to recover. So that is reasonably fine, right? They call this a catastrophic failure, and in terms of the landing, it kind of was. There's no doubt about that, but let's head back to the tracking station. And that was a land landing, which was definitely interesting. As far as the sideways momentum goes, we weren't able to bring ourselves back around to correct for that in time. And that's just something I'll have to manually compensate for, I think. So we'll recover this, and that's fine. A land landing is rough. No doubt about it, but I mean, that all came down to horizontal speed. The good news is our aerodynamics appear to be quite good for that landing. So that's not a problem. The major issue is we need to be able to, and actually, did I remember to turn the aero brakes back into steering mode? If I didn't, that could have been the problem there. I'm not sure if I did or not, but for now, that stage isn't relevant. To be clear, at this point, they didn't have the land landing down yet either, or any landing down yet. So there is that. But that horizontal speed was the problem there, for sure. Okay, now to the primary mission. So we are going to have this intersect about here. At the apoapsis, we're going to warp around to it. And I want to switch into target mode here. What's our relative speed going to be here? 127.8? Okay, noted. So we're going to need to pull this quite a lot. We've got 1 kilometer per second of delta V here, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'm going to burn out over this direction, and we can see our separation getting closer and closer and closer. I'm going to keep burning until we lose efficiency, which is about now. And we can see that we actually, at this point, need to burn about this direction. That's looking a lot better. Yeah, right about there. 0.9 kilometers distant now with 150 meters per second. Good. That looks fantastic. So let's move into relative velocity minus, and I'm not sure where the station is right now. There it is, 27 kilometers out. We can do one more corrective burn sometime around here. We're not going to need much more than that, though. We're only 0.8 kilometers off now. So that looks solid. $20 seconds. Okay, looks good. So now we can do a corrective burn, pushing this somewhere out this direction or so. This is mostly going to be... No, put that in kill rod. This is mostly going to be a deceleration burn, but it is also going to be doing some small corrections. About there. 0.1 kilometers. I like it. So now we're going to warp to about here, although maybe not quite that close. Relative velocity minus, we're at 3 kilometers out right now, and our relative speed is 108 meters per second. So we're not moving all that fast relative to the station, which is absolutely fine. And let's just get that loaded in. Goodbye, frame rate. Okay, this is a worse frame rate than usual. Sure. And I'm going to start our deceleration burn at about, like, I think 1.2 kilometers. 1.5, 1.4, 1.3, and 1.2. Lighting up our engines. And we're going to bring this down to a relative of 5. We can see that we're going to be cleanly missing the station, so that looks great. So bring this down to 5 meters per second, right there. And now I'm going to ditch this stage. It's going to fly off in that direction and bypass the station. It didn't go. There we go. Okay, so now we can warp in a little bit closer. Yeah, to about here or so. And using our RCS, we can begin a deceleration burn. So that's an acceleration burn. And deceleration will be this way. Looks great. And the question is, where do we want to dock this? And I kind of want to dock it to... I believe it's like this port out over here, or this port. We're still a ways away, of course. And I want to change our overall momentum to be towards... Oh, hang on. Controls are fully reversed? Okay, gotcha. I want to change this to be basically towards the station. Actually, they're not fully reversed. It's awkward. I'm used to inverted controls, but when, like, inverted Y controls, but when inverted X controls are happening and also inverted Y, it feels very wrong. Cool. So we're just going to decelerate this at this point down to about 2 meters per second. That'll do. And let's warp this on in. Yeah, I think this docking port is kind of ideal. So we're going to set this guy as our target. And I'm going to control from here. We'll open this shield. And I want to turn around and go to relative velocity plus. Boy, this frame rate is going to be spicy, but I mean, there's only a couple minutes left in the video, and then we're going to restart the game anyway, so I don't see a point in restarting it right now. Let's just get this docked up. It should be reasonably fine to do it like this. So we're just changing our angling like so, and then we're going to get closer and decelerate a little bit more. Okay. So we're just gently bringing this in, and then let's bring that deceleration down. Okay, I want to be pointing at target here. Bring this down to about 0.5 meter per second. Little under, I guess. Sure, that'll do. Ooh, that's very sensitive for tweaking this. Okay. Well, let's get our roll set up to be, you know, somewhere around here. This isn't going to be... this doesn't have to be perfect by any means. I think we're going to need to go up a little bit. That's not up. in this rotation. Okay, up a little bit. Yes. And I think we might need to go over to the right slightly as well, which would be this direction. Okay, I don't think we need to go any more up. I think we're basically on target right now. So let's get this into position here, and let's warp in and see how this ends up going. Frame rate is exciting, no doubt about that, but I think we can get this docked up. Ooh, okay. Very sensitive on the RCS adjustments. No doubt about that. We're definitely a little on the low side, which means we need to go a bit this way. Okay. Frame rate is spicy. Very, very spicy frame rate indeed. We need to bring it back down this direction a little bit, but overall, there we go. Not too bad. So we got that docked up, and now we can get this installed, but that will be a job for next episode when we've restarted the game and have frame rate. Frame rate is a wonderful thing. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kintogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time, and hopefully we'll nail that land landing one of these days.